Let's get into this. The best way to get off drugs is way easier than you think. See, it start with us. Now, I know that might sound simple. It start with us. It sounds like the same thing everybody's saying. But it really does, because what our problem is, it be like in anything. Like even in a sports debate or whatever the case may be, we just don't want to wave the white flag. We can't admit we wrong, so we battle our own self over and over for months and decades over just looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying, I got a problem. That's the first thing. And you probably heard it over and over on many videos from a counselor, family members, etc. But it's actually the truth, if you really think about it, because we don't want to admit that we drink too much, that we shop too much, that we obese or nothing. We'll make all the excuses in the world, which is preventing us from beating addiction. I mean, it sounds so simple and easy and cliche, but you're looking at somebody who's living proof. Once I decided that, it was me, I'm the one, then everything became easy, Of course, yeah, you still, it's a million steps after that, but they got the old saying, the hardest thing in the gym is the door. People are, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to do this, I want to get cut, I want to get fit, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't grab the door, you don't necessarily have to go in the gym to get none of these. You can do it at home. You can improvise on, getting strength or whatever you're looking for and work out. But my point is, like, addicts do not want to admit that they addicts, so sometimes it just keeps them out there forever, leading to death, But the first step is admitting you powerless, and some people just not willing to do that. How many times you've been wrong in an argument and you're wrong, and you will continue to argue with the person, whether it's on the phone or in person, and fall out with them, and that will last for months, years, or you never even speak to the person again. It's the same situation, So whether it don't matter what drug you're on, because all of it's in the same category. And that's another thing people do. They're like, well, I smoke marijuana, I don't do heroin. You know what I'm saying? I just drink. You know what I mean? Or I take pills. I don't smoke crack. I just sniff powder. That's another form of you doing what I started this video. So you're looking like, I ain't like them. I do this versus that. It's all the same. You know what I'm saying? Your body is being beat down regardless, like you don't really see I don't see any, 60 and 70-year-old people holding up a trophy, saying, I'm still on drugs and I'm doing just fine, So I got more videos to come on all the topics, but this video is very important because it sounds so simple, but it's so strong, because you're talking to somebody who's 17 years clean and sober and living proof. I'm living proof of what I'm saying. I'm not reading out some book or getting some information or just bored jumping on YouTube, just to make a video. I'm living proof. Every day I wake up, I wouldn't call it a record because I'm supposed to be clean, but in a sense, it's a record. Every day I wake up, it's another day to my sobriety. So no matter how bad you out there, whether you've been out there 15 years, 15 days, or you use off and on and want to stop, one of the primary reasons be because you don't really want to admit that you got a problem, and you like battling yourself. It's like it can fall under different categories. Like you could have doubt that you're not good enough for a job, you're not good enough to play sports, you're not good enough to be in certain rooms, So it all correlates, But how bad you is in addiction, how deep, how bad you looking, feeling, homeless, or whether you on top of the world in a sense, you're doing great financially, but it's the one thing you can't beat is the addiction. And truth be told, it eats at you on a daily basis because, you know, you just don't want to admit that it got me by the you know what. So when you do that, you will find out like it's everything falls in place after that. It's almost like bad eating. McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, fried foods, ice cream. If you do that on a day-to-day basis, you don't think you can eat like salads and salmon and bake and fruits and vegetables. But once you get on the road doing that, you will realize and look back that, oh my God, you know, I should have been doing this a long time ago. But my point is you didn't admit that, you know, this bad eating got me. So what people do? I'm going to still eat my cheeseburger. I'm going to still get my chicken wings. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to still drink my soda. I'm going to still get my beer. I'm going to have me a shot of liquor every once in a while. But this go on for decades and sometimes a lifetime. And then what it do? It eventually, you know, beats you down and you got all kinds of health problems. So, you know, like I said, I'm not just here making a YouTube video. You know, I'm talking about 17 years clean and sober on hard drugs and alcohol. I used to open and close the liquor store. You know, heroin, cocaine, you name it, you know. But once I look myself in the mirror like this and said you are powerless, you know, over all this stuff, and was willing to make a change, you know, and I could say it in front of my family, friends, or whoever, you know, that I was powerless, that's when it became easy. Of course, you're going to have to deal with the physical addictions and complications along the way, but the biggest step is up here. You know, follow me for more videos because I got more to come on, you know, the whole pamphlet and different topics that will have you staying clean for the rest of your life. Peace.